It's the radio guy, Mike Prince. Welcome to another episode of the Mike Prince Show, Sunday Night Live edition. Of course, our mission is to try to come to you each and every day with some type of news that you could use. We have what we would think a pretty interesting lineup for this evening. Joining us on the Brazos Valley Schools Credit Union Hotline, our first guest will be Director of Compliance by way of Texas Southern University, none other than Larry Woods II. We'll talk to him about the NIL adventures that have officially kicked off as far as July 1st is concerned. Our second guest will be in the likes of a man who's not a stranger to the program. He's not a stranger to the area. KJ Black, offensive coordinator and quarterbacks coach at FAMU. He has a very cool adventure he's going to be partaking in pretty soon. We'll talk to him about that and a whole lot more right here on our Sunday night live edition of the Mike Prince Show. You know how things get done around these parts. I got to take care of a couple of sponsorships and some obligations. And once we get done with that, we'll be right back. You listen to the Mike Prince Show. Keep it right where you got it. Hold tight. Reflections Paint and Auto Body Shop, located in Waller, Texas, is ready to restore the beauty of your automobile. Whether it's a small dent or a major accident, if your vehicle needs auto body repair, check out Reflections Paint and Body Shop. All repairs are completed by highly skilled and trained professionals. They are located at 2910 Waller Street in Waller, Texas. And just in case you can't get it into them, they provide towing services. Call them today, 936-931-5780. That number again, 936-931-5780. Brazos Valley Schools Credit Union has 13 different locations to better serve you. Locations in Rosenberg, Missouri City, Katy, College Station, Bryan, Brenham, and Waller, Texas. For more information, you can contact them on their toll-free number, 855-391-2149. Or you can send an email to information@bvscu.org. Let's face it, from time to time, we'll have a need for an attorney, whether it's the case of a DUI, DWI, or any other circumstances that would find you on the other side of the law. Attorney Lee Van Richardson, located at 1047 Austin Street, is the one to call. Attorney Lee Van Richardson and his staff are equipped to help you get through your legal battles. Attorney Lee Van Richardson, 979-826-8008 in Hempstead, Texas.
This broadcast has been made possible by the support of the Prairie View Athletic Club. The Prairie View Athletic Club is a proud supporter of Prairie View A&M University athletics. For more information on becoming a member of the Prairie View Athletic Club, send your email to pvathletic.club@gmail.com. That email address again is pvathletic.club@gmail.com. Prairie View Athletic Club, a proud supporter of Prairie View A&M University athletics.
Have sports, will travel. The Open Mic Broadcast Network serving student athletes from Little League, high school, and collegiate coverage right here on the Open Mic Broadcast Network. From coast to coast, from dusk till dawn. You can catch all student athletic action right here at the Open Mic Broadcast Network, the station designed with you in mind. Serving the community through faith and athletics, the Open Mic Broadcast Network, the voice of student athletics. And welcome back to the Sunday Night Live edition of the Mike Prince Show. Coming up real soon, our first guest on the Brazos Valley Schools Credit Union Hotline will be Larry Woods, Director of Compliance from Texas Southern University, with the new name and image and likeness, let's say, adventures that have taken off here at the beginning of the month. A lot of uncertainties, a lot of deals already made. A lot of teams are taking advantage of it, of course, on the upper tier level, but it's going to trickle down to the lower ranks very soon. Now, the only thing about it is it will not be as lucrative as many are thinking it's going to be. You've heard, what's his name, Master P, I believe that's his name. His son signed a $2 million deal, but wink, wink, we know that Daddy had a lot to do with that one. A couple of kids have signed some $20,000 deals. But when it comes to the local FCS market, you might see, I'm thinking maybe a $10,000 maximum deal, $5,000 even, but I'm thinking more or less along the lines of $5,000 and below, and really in some cases $1,000 and below, just what the markets can bear. But as they say, shade from a toothpick in the middle of a desert beats nothing at all. So it's going to be very interesting to see how all of these things unfold. Are you on board with NIL? Do you think it's a good thing? Do you think it is gradually moving to the pay-to-play era in college sports? For so many years, everybody benefited from the student athlete, but the student athlete, and the argument had always been, well, you're getting a free education, otherwise you probably could not afford to have. But with the education that comes with it, yes, you cannot replace that. You could never really put a value on it. But let's be honest, all the money that is going through these systems on behalf of the student athletes, sweat, blood, and tears, give me a break. It's not time to be crying now. So get that divider, get that pie slicer, cut it up, and let's, as I say, spread the love, spread the wealth to see how everything is going to work itself out. Football kicking off real soon, July 20th, 10 a.m., Swac Media Day officially kicks off, and we'll be right there in the mix. You can join us right here at the Open Mic Broadcast Network for our live coverage from Radio Row. We will be in the mix, but not in the mix. We'll explain that later on throughout the course as we get closer to the day. But we have our guests lined up, pinned in, ready to go. And don't forget that on the following week, July 27th, we're going to have Swac Media Day from volleyball. Now, just so everyone will know, this is not an official Swac promoted event, but it is a Swac involvement event. We here at the Open Mic felt that the ladies needed the coverage just as well as the men do. And they so graciously accepted the invite. And so we're excited to be able to present that following week on July 27th, 10 a.m., exclusively here on the Open Mic Broadcast Network. We're going to take us a break and get ready for our first guest on the Brazos Valley Schools Credit Union Hotline on this evening, none other than Mr. Larry Woods. You listen to the Mike Prince Show, Sunday Night Live Edition, and we'll be right back. The Open Mic Broadcast Network serving student athletes from Little League, high school, and collegiate coverage right here on the Open Mic Broadcast Network. From coast to coast, from dusk till dawn. You can catch all student athletic action right here at the Open Mic Broadcast Network, the station designed with you in mind. Serving the community through faith and athletics, the Open Mic Broadcast Network, the voice of student athletics.
Hello, this is Alonzo Hardy Jr., the president of the Swac Alumni Association. The Swac Alumni Association is an organization founded on December 10, 1999, at the Sheraton Hotel in Birmingham, Alabama. Its mission is to serve as a rallying ground for individuals who have made the Southwestern Athletic Conference the illustrious conference that it is today. Its membership is open to former student athletes who played in the conference in any sport, as well as to coaches, athletic administrators, staff members, game officials, and fans. Annually, the association holds a Legends Awards and Roast Banquet or luncheon where it honors individuals with Lifetime Achievement Awards, a Chuck Prophet Wackenmaster Award, and occasionally a Distinguished Service Award. Proceeds from that event help to finance degree completion scholarships for student athletes who have exhausted their playing eligibility at Swac universities, but who may still need an extra semester or two to complete their college studies. For more information on the Swac Alumni Association or to get information on becoming a member, you can send correspondence to Swac Alumni Association, 875 Miller Creek Lane, Newport News, Virginia, 23602. The email address is SwacAlumniAssociation@yahoo.com.
Brazos Valley Schools Credit Union has 13 different locations to better serve you. For more information, you can contact them on their toll-free number, 855-391-2149. Or you can send an email to information@bvscu.org. And welcome back to the Sunday Night Live edition of the Mike Prince Show, coming to you by way of the Brazos Valley Schools Credit Union hotline. As our first guest of the evening will come from down the road from the folks in the maroon and gray. He's going to help try to give us a better understanding of this NIL madness that is officially kicked off on July 1st. I will present the zone and introduce to others Director of Compliance, none other than Larry Woods II. How you doing, sir, and welcome to the show.
I'm doing well. Thanks for having me. Thanks for having me this evening.
Yes, sir. Yes, sir. Now, before we get into all that, what seems to be an adventurous, and more than likely it will be adventurous, but it's somewhat complex situations, give the people a little background about yourself before we dive right into it.
Not a problem. As Mr. Prince said, I'm Larry Woods II, originally born and raised here in Houston, Texas, Missouri City to be exact. Went to high school at Hightower High School, went to undergrad at TCU in Fort Worth, received my bachelor's in broadcast journalism, and have a master's in sport leadership and sports studies from Texas Southern. Been at Texas Southern now since 2010 in the compliance realm.
Okay, and you really are the gatekeeper when it comes to every student athlete involved with Texas Southern sports, right?
Yeah, that's a good description of it. At some point, every student athlete at Texas Southern has to see me, learn who I am, just to make sure that we're staying within NCAA legislation when it comes to everything that concerns being a student athlete.
Yes, sir. Also bringing a true understanding and definition of the power of the pen, because your signature can really declare if a person can or cannot be a participant in Texas Southern athletics.
Oh, definitely, without a doubt. Every student athlete that participates for us, I will see them across my desk in some form or fashion. Definitely if they're a student that's going to receive athletic scholarship, we do pre-evaluations on all our student athletes before they enroll to get a grasp of where they are academically, and our coaches get an understanding of what they need to do and how they'll be successful once they do actually enroll and become student athletes at our institution.
Yes, sir. Now, before we get into the meat and potatoes, you've been pretty modest because you've been a silent partner, we shall say, assistant softball coach for the program. Congratulations on being a part of the 11th consecutive title, the Western Division title. That still amazes me. But you guys now have added to that. Ms. Rodriguez brought in a very talented assistant. And I guess my question to you is are you still going to be involved with that process, or they putting you on the shelf, or they're going to still say, okay, Brother Woods, we'll still let you come hang out?
Oh, well, yeah. First, I have to give a big shout out and thank you to Coach Rodriguez's predecessor, Coach Worley Barker. He, a few years ago, gave me the opportunity to come out and be a part of the program. And ever since then, I fell in love with the game and the program at Texas Southern. But, yes, Coach Rodriguez asked me to fill in with her this season as an assistant. And we've had the opportunity to fill that role with the exciting young lady, Jessie Scroggins, who comes for us, played at the University of Baylor, was a GA at the University of Dallas. I will go back to my role as what we like to call around campus as the general manager. As the sport administrator of softball, I'll oversee the budget, travel, things like that, scheduling, and scholarships. And so I'll go back to that role. I'll still be around, but my wife is kind of asking that I step away a little bit so we can start a family and go from there.
Okay, then. So I guess you wasn't fired then. That's the
No, I wasn't fired. I joke with people a lot and say I was fired, but I wasn't actually fired. I just kind of transitioned back to more of the administration than actually being on field, handling a lot of the day-to-day.
Okay, back in the 70s, they say you were laid off. You wasn't fired, you were just laid off.
Right, yeah, I like that. I was laid off. I was laid off. I like to say, I transitioned, you transition, laid off. I like those fires. It seems a little hard.
We're on the Brazos Valley Schools Credit Union hotline with Larry Woods II. He is Director of Compliance from Texas Southern University. And now we are in a new era. No one could have imagined this coming 20, 30 years ago. Heck, not even 10 years ago, maybe, where we are right now. First and foremost, for those who have heard the NIL acronym flashed out, and some understand that it stands for name and image and likeness. Can you give us in layman terms what this thing is really all about?
Yeah, in layman's terms, as it says, basically now a student athlete can profit off of who they are as a person. If you know anything about video games and things like that, back in the day, EA Sports made college video games, very popular video games, which me in particular, I was a huge fan of, where they would basically put the student athletes in the game and would come up with fake numbers or fake names for them, so to speak. But they were definitely the image and the likeness of the actual student athlete. And so a few years ago, some former student athletes took issue with that and said they should profit off of that because that is who they are. So now, we fast forward to today, many people have felt those student athletes were correct. And so now a student athlete can go out, negotiate what are called NIL deals, and profit off of their name, whether it's putting their name on a product, their image, which would be promoting a product on a billboard or anything of that nature, a commercial or ad, or their likeness, which goes to that video game example where something that is not necessarily them, but a likeness that is associated with them, they can profit off of it. So again, like we said in layman's terms, they're basically now being compensated for being them and the use of who they are.
Okay, and you may or may not have the answer to this. And as I was thinking, as you were explaining that, let's say EA Sports, which ones that initiated some of this process, let's say that they don't use a necessary likeness or image of a said student athlete, nor the number even, and they just kind of do like some fictitious names as they did before. Wouldn't that be considered a loophole, or are they going to kind of stick to it? I guess what I'm trying to say, instead of them having precise, accurate, data of who that student athlete is without being named, some generic images and attributes that kind of get similar to that?
I think that's a possibility, but I think for EA Sports' sakes and the brand that they created, they would have to release it very similar to how it was before for it to be profitable for them. So I believe if they put, for example, I'll take probably a local student athlete that is a running back that's from this area that's at Texas A&M. He was MVP of the Orange Bowl. If they make that video game again, they're going to make him who he is in real life. So it's profitable for them, but now they have to be able to, that student athlete can gain profit from the game as well if they're going to use his name, his image, or his likeness.
Okay, very good. Now, we've been talking about the big picture in the grand scheme of things with deals with EA Sports and with Orange Bowl participation. Let's bring it down, let's say regionally and even locally. How and what kind of impact do you expect this to have on the student athletes, not only at Texas Southern, but at the Southwestern Athletic Conference?
I think it's going to have a huge impact. As you know already, if you those that are following along with it, you've seen a student athlete from Jackson State sign a big NIL deal with the grooming company. You have student athletes here locally here in the state of Texas that are going to be able to profit based on a lot of the businesses that are national businesses that are branded here and localized here. I think the students at U of H will have a great opportunity based on a lot of the boosters and alumni base, but also here at Texas Southern. We have a huge and great alumni base and fan base where students are going to be able to profit off of the local businesses and things of that nature. And what greatly benefits us is the market that our student athletes are in. There's going to be plenty of opportunities where people are going to be reaching out to them for endorsements and sponsorships. So those opportunities are going to present themselves. But what I also try to educate our student athletes on, especially during this time of something new, be wary of people that are out for it for the wrong reasons, because everybody's out to, at the end of the day, they have to profit themselves. So there may be some shady business deals, and we joke about the janky promoters and things of that nature. So you've got to be careful and leery of those during these times, but also understand for them as student athletes that they are student athletes first. And I stress that to them, that don't get caught up in the money aspect of it, making money and those things. You're here to be a student athlete. We tell all of our students everything in our our mission has not changed. We're here to educate and graduate student athletes. So when we say that, we're here to educate you in the classroom, but also in life. So with this new NIL, we're going to educate you because we want it to be part of you and what makes it successful at Texas Southern. But we also want you to graduate. We demand that you go to class. We're going to demand that you graduate. So understanding that all this is great, it's going to be beneficial to you, and we want to see you take advantage of it. But also understand your main goal while you're a student athlete at Texas Southern is to receive your degree.
Absolutely. Now, as you're going through this, and I could see this potentially, and I'm using that word very loosely, potentially, of it being a two-headed monster for local institutions where they may have been trying to work on a deal with a local brand, and the brand may have been a little bit too steep for that budget for that particular company, but they wanted to benefit from the association with the program. So they figured they would go the less expensive route and just deal with the student athletes individually. Is that a concern, and how do you plan to counter that, if so, at all?
I don't necessarily think it's a concern. I think these companies and these brands are going to do what they have to do to get who they want. I think it's one of those deals where you have to, again, the best we can do on our end, we have to educate our student athletes and make sure that they're aware of all the resources that are available to them. Make sure when these brands and these companies are approaching them that they have done their research. When you see these bigger companies, like you said, maybe not come after the school or things of that nature, come individually, you just have to make sure the student athlete has been educated and is prepared for everything it may entail. These deals and these sponsorships are going to come fast and furious, especially as students learn more about them and then have more success on the field. And names are, but understanding it's always, like I said, it's name, image, and likeness. If I want to sell a product, I need a name that carries, a name that sells. So again, the main thing for us and what we can do is just educate.
Right. We're on the Brazos Valley Schools Credit Union hotline with Director of Compliance from Texas Southern University, Larry Woods II. And I am so glad to hear you talk about and overemphasize the word educate. And I'm pretty sure there's been a mad cricket scramble with you and your comrades throughout the conference and the rest of the nation on what can we do? What can we put in place? What do you have in place at Texas Southern now to train and educate the student athletes and the coaches and other administrators as well on how to deal with this? I'm calling it the gold rush of the 21st century.
I kind of like that, the gold rush. What we're doing is we're kind of, we kind of take that wait and see approach right now. A lot of you may see a lot of the bigger institutions that have a few more resources available to them, reaching out and partnering with different companies, and I think that's great. I think because they're going to have the influence on their student athletes that are a little bit more, how can I say, available to the public. They're on national TV a lot more often than we are, so they have to deal with that. But from our end, when the student approaches us, we're getting ahead of it. We're making sure that we have educated them on what are the do's and the don'ts. But also, we have other resources at our school. We have definitely, like I mentioned, our sports study and sport leadership department, who have a lot of resources and who have been very involved. We actually have Dr. Courtney Flowers, who I sat and had a conversation with her about the NLI, the prospects of them coming to our campus and things of that nature. So, and I've definitely talked to our coaches and make sure that they understood this is not a pay-for-play situation where we can't pay a student athlete to pay. The student can benefit off of their name and image and likeness, but we cannot broker deals for them. This has to be done on their own. And again, like I said previously, it's not a true pay-for-play deal where we're recruiting a kid, telling them, hey, come to our institution, we'll pay you this and you play for us. That's not what it is. But those are just the steps that we have in place right now to make sure that it's beneficial for everybody and all parties involved.
Okay, once again, we're on the Brazos Valley Schools Credit Union Hotline with Larry Woods, Director of Compliance from Texas Southern University, talking about the naming, image, and likeness, a.k.a. NIL. Now, here's a question. I don't know if you guys even went over this process. There is a potential of some psychological damage to the student athlete, and here's what I'm saying. There might be some guys who think that their brand is worth something, and they might not get as many endorsement opportunities or none to be said. Is there something in place to help ease that fall in the event they don't get the expected monetary investment that they thought they might have been worth, or nothing at all?
I don't think we have anything new we have to put in place for that. I think that that's just who we are as an institution currently, who we've always been. Our institution is, we consider ourselves to be one big family. And we understand, and when we talk to our student athletes, we're upfront and direct with them and let them know the situation that, again, like I said before, we're here to educate and graduate you as a student athlete. But that also, when we say educate, that doesn't just say to the classroom. We educate you on life and prepare to have interviews like this, go out in the real world and understand there are going to be their ups and downs. You're going to have your struggles and you get hit with reality checks from time to time. But so during that process, you understand that while I may think of myself as being this person, like you said, it may not always turn out that way, where I may not be the person that's going to sign the 20,000 NIL deal with Canes or these other companies you may have seen sign, but I think I'm at that level. But you have to understand that what we've built, and I think what we stand on, is the family environment that we created. But if something does happen and they are down on themselves, but we're there to pick them back up and understand it's still a possibility. It just may not come as you expected it or you wanted it to, but it's always some. And like you say, and we talk about in life and how everybody, not to get involved, but everything is God's timing. When you have a plan, it's funny, you hear it before. If you have a plan, God has let me show you my plan. So it may not always work out how you want it, but if you stay true to the path and the process, eventually these things happen for you when you handle things the right way.
Absolutely. And I know this was new territory for all of you guys. Did you guys as a conference get together as directors of compliance and have powwows on how do we do this? What blueprints are you guys using, and kind of copy off each other to get something in place for where now we stand?
Oh, definitely. we have a monthly compliance directors call within the conference, and our conference liaison, Dr. Jason Cable, as well as our conference commissioner, Dr. Charles McClellan, former director at Texas Southern. We've had calls on multiple occasions where he's also spoke with his involvement in the NIL process, dealing with it coming in possibilities in different states, understanding there are different states involved, and every state has different rules. So we've definitely talked about it. I work and talk a lot with our Prairie View A&M, or another Texas institution, and see how they handle things. And you have to, while we may be rivals on the field, we all want the best for each other. So it helps to have those type of relationships and be able to work through things and find out the best solution because a lot of the things that we're facing on our campus, they're facing those same things on their campus.
Very much so, my friend. Well, look, I want to truly thank you for making yourself available, coming on and helping us to break down yet a little bit more of this NIL era that we in. I got one thing, you got to promise me, my man, that this won't be your last time that you join us on the show.
No, not at all. Anytime you got my number, give me a call and I'm here. I'm ready.
You ready? Okay.
Yes, sir.
And I would give you an opportunity to say go Tigers, so I might as well go ahead and get it out the way.
Oh. See, it's September 4th. September, got to promote the institution, the yard. September 4th, Prairie View A&M. Get your season tickets now. Season tickets available on tsusports.com. Go Tigers.
Go Tigers. He is Director of Compliance from the Texas Southern Tigers, Larry Woods II, breaking down the world of NIL. We got to take us a break and we'll get ready for our next guest, KJ Black, by way of FAMU, and we're sure we're going to have a lot to talk about with him. You are listening to the Mike Prince Show Sunday Night Live edition. Hold tight, and we will be right back. Reflections Paint and Auto Body Shop, located in Waller, Texas, is ready to restore the beauty of your automobile. Whether it's a small dent or a major accident, if your vehicle needs auto body repair, check out Reflections Paint and Body Shop. All repairs are completed by highly skilled and trained professionals. They are located at 2910 Waller Street in Waller, Texas. And just in case you can't get it into them, they provide towing services. Call them today, 936-931-5780. That number again, 936-931-5780. Brazos Valley Schools Credit Union has 13 different locations to better serve you. Locations in Rosenberg, Missouri City, Katy, College Station, Bryan, Brenham, and Waller, Texas. For more information, you can contact them on their toll-free number, 855-391-2149. Or you can send an email to information@bvscu.org. Let's face it, from time to time, we'll have a need for an attorney, whether it's the case of a DUI, DWI, or any other circumstances that would find you on the other side of the law. Attorney Lee Van Richardson, located at 1047 Austin Street, is the one to call. Attorney Lee Van Richardson and his staff are equipped to help you get through your legal battles. Attorney Lee Van Richardson, 979-826-8008 in Hempstead, Texas.
This broadcast has been made possible by the support of the Prairie View Athletic Club. The Prairie View Athletic Club is a proud supporter of Prairie View A&M University athletics. For more information on becoming a member of the Prairie View Athletic Club, send your email to pvathletic.club@gmail.com. That email address again is pvathletic.club@gmail.com. Prairie View Athletic Club, a proud supporter of Prairie View A&M University athletics.
Have sports, will travel. The Open Mic Broadcast Network serving student athletes from Little League, high school, and collegiate coverage right here on the Open Mic Broadcast Network. From coast to coast, from dusk till dawn. You can catch all student athletic action right here at the Open Mic Broadcast Network, the station designed with you in mind. Serving the community through faith and athletics, the Open Mic Broadcast Network, the voice of student athletics. Here we go. And welcome back to the Mike Prince Show, Sunday Night Live edition. We had our first segment, or should I say guest, Brother Larry Woods. Great information, sharing about the NIL, still trying to figure stuff out. But as it gets better, we'll all get better. And we'll be right there to break things down. But speaking of breaking things down, we are going south, deep south. I didn't think you can get no deeper in the South, but I guess you can. Tallahassee, Florida, where we are going to be talking to who we call the good son. He is the 2009 champion quarterback of the Prairie View A&M University Panthers, now serving as offensive coordinator and quarterbacks coach at FAMU, who are now officially part of the Southwestern Athletic Conference when they arrive in grand fashion, I might add, on July 1st. I present to some and introduce to others none other than KJ Black. How you doing, my man?
I'm great, man. I'm great, Mike. And as always, I'm glad to be here talking to one of my favorites in Panther Land and Panther Nation, and excited to be here, man.
Well, we're excited to have you here. I guess I could officially say welcome home back to the Southwestern Athletic Conference, of course, where you had success. The program is got great expectations entering into their inaugural season. I know the atmosphere has been very celebratorial, and you guys have just been sucking it all up right now, huh?
Oh man, we are excited. The players are excited, the coaches, the administration, everybody's excited, and all I can do is warn them. Because I'll tell them all the time, the Swac and the MEAC are two different monsters. So we're excited, we're fired up, and ready to come in and make our mark early and often.
Well, it's ironic that you would say that, and there's always been a comparison. You know, everybody does their own unique things at their own unique regional parts of the country. What is it that you have instantly embraced at FAMU, and what is that you're still trying to get an adjustment to on the way they do certain things?
I would say, particularly here at FAMU, we do a great job of selling ourselves from an alumni standpoint. I always credit and make sure I acknowledge the alumni here because they do a great job of, number one, showing up and showing out, and then number two, always trying to take care of their own. So that's something that I've been very impressed with here at FAMU and excited to be a part of. It's just the way that they take care of their alumni, but also just just the game day atmosphere here at FAMU is second to none. And I don't say that just because I work here. We were talking about it the other day as a staff. A lot of the coaches here on the staff have been to the FBS level, and they're comparing the FAMU game day atmosphere, not just for homecoming, but just regular Saturday 3:00 game atmosphere to FBS Group of 5 atmospheres. So there's a lot of things here at FAMU that they do well, including those two things, but those two things there stick out to me the most.
Can you give me a little bit more detail on some of the experiences that you see that could A, be easily incorporated to other institutions, and B, that would just make sense?
So if we're talking just specifically, I know one thing that I've always and I know I might get some emails and some DMs from some Panther people, but I always wanted Prairie View to have not necessarily a ritual, but something that they do before the game gets going to get everybody excited and ready to go and let everybody know that we're here to set it off. And FAMU does that. They have what the president does. He comes up and he gives his notion that actually started way back when. So it's been something that's been going on for decades, and he gives his spiel. And the crowd gets excited. It's almost like a calling, letting the Rattlers know that it's time to go, that we're here to win. And from there, the team runs out, and the atmosphere is ready to go. They're on their feet. Everybody's clapping, and you couldn't hear yourself next to trying to talk to somebody next to you. It's so loud in the stadium before the kickoff. So just something like that from a game day atmosphere standpoint that I think sets FAMU apart.
Okay, very good. So involvement from top to bottom, where there is not
Right.
just segmented to where that's your deal, do your deal, and I see you when I see you. Very good.
Right,
And
exactly right, exactly right. And then you don't see that a lot of places where the president, every home game, whether we're playing a lower division team or a higher division team or homecoming, he's out there every home game giving his energetic, enthusiastic presentation. Like I said, getting the calling of the Rattlers going, and it's a sight to see.
well, and I don't think you're going to get any flack behind that. And if you do, just let me know who it is, and we'll help take care of that for you. Okay? So
I hear you talking. I hear you talking.
look, who am I to write that? We'll talk about that later. But we're on the Brazos Valley Schools Credit Union hotline with KJ Black, offensive coordinator of the FAMU Rattlers. The reason that we had you on today, man, you just got a very great opportunity, and I'm not going to steal your thunder. I'm going to let you roll it off, but you go ahead and do that, and then we'll talk a little bit further. But let the folks know what's going on in your world right now.
Yeah, so I was blessed, is all I could say. The way that it came about, with the opportunity to go and internship in the NFL with the Bill Walsh Diversity Fellowship program. I get to go and intern with the Los Angeles Rams, working with their quarterbacks specifically, and get to spend 3 weeks with them from July 25th to August 10th. So that's an opportunity that I'm very excited about. Every day I wake up thinking about how I can prepare myself for it. But I'm like I said at the very, very beginning, I'm very blessed, and I can't wait to get out there and try to learn and grow as a coach.
Well, what a lot of people don't know, this is not something that you necessarily apply for. You have to be approached for this opportunity, correct?
Well, it's kind of both. There are a lot of coaches that apply for this opportunity. They kind of open up the applications, and you send in different things: application, resume, references. You have to write letters, and not red letters, but just write and tell them why you think you should receive the internship. And a lot of people will apply for it yearly. This is my second time applying for it. And I'm just excited that I got it. I know some guys that have been applying for years and haven't gotten it yet. So I'm just, like I said, I'm blessed. I wasn't expecting to get it, but I'm glad I got the call, and I can't wait to get there.
Yes, sir. Now, when you get this opportunity, you get the call, and, it's like being a kid all over again, right? Man, you mean I get this opportunity to go? And of all the teams, the Los Angeles Rams, I got a personal vendetta against them because they vacated my hometown of St. Louis, but that's a whole nother story.
Yeah, that's a whole nother deal.
Yeah, we rescued them jokers. They become champions in St. Louis, then they flee back out west, but whatever. But anyway, I'm excited for you and this opportunity. Now, of course, this starts July 25th, and it expires on August 10th. How does that interfere with your homebound duties at Rattler Nation?
Very little, actually. And I think that was my main concern when I first received the call from the assistant head coach for the Rams. Thomas Brown was actually the one that communicated with me first, and he kind of did the interview process, and it's kind of been my lead contact. But that was my first concern. And when we first communicated, me and Coach Brown, I told him I didn't know if I could do it. I know this is a big year for FAMU football, transitioning to a new conference. I have to make sure that my position, just like every other coach, is ready to go, because I don't want to be the reason why we don't have the success that we're supposed to have. And so I reached out to Coach Simmons, and Coach Simmons, with him being who he is, and he's always trying to promote his coaches and help us grow as men, told me that he would, number one, he would kill me if I didn't take it. But secondly, he said he would basically take over my position group for those few days that I'm not here, because I'm only going to miss 3 practices. So he said I can do it for 3 days, as long as you promise to come back after 3 days. So, and that's just kind of, the relationship that we have, and being tied at the hip as far as he's knowing what I teach and how I teach. And he's been around me for, I think, almost 6 years now. So he felt comfortable saying he could do it for 3 days, and we wouldn't miss a beat. And then just from a practice standpoint, as far as scripting and doing all this stuff ready for practice, we like to get ahead of that stuff anyway. Most staffs do. So those first few days are already scripted. They're going to be in pen, marked in pen already. So there shouldn't be too much change those first few days that I'm not there. So again, I'm lucky. I'm lucky to have the opportunity, and Coach Simmons is doing what he always does.
We're on the Brazos Valley Schools Credit Union hotline with KJ Black, offensive coordinator and quarterbacks coach of the FAMU Rattlers. And you may mention in reference to your head football coach, Coach Shotgun Willie Simmons, you guys over time have developed a very unique and special bond, being former quarterbacks and offensive minds. And I give you guys a hard time about that. Y'all get all the glory, but the defensive guys is why you get championships. But we'll talk about that another time.
Get on us too now when we don't win. Now don't act like we're not the first ones everybody looks at when you lose.
No, I understand. So you got to be able to deal with the heat that comes with the in the kitchen. So I understand that. But talk about the relationship that you and Coach Simmons have, and when did it really begin to blossom?
Oh man, that's a question there. This is what I'll say about our relationship is Coach Simmons is my mentor. Everybody has, especially in most career paths and most professional settings, you have somebody that you look to for guidance, that you come to with questions. That especially when you need them and when you don't, when you're just looking to gather information. And that's my mentor. And I'm excited and glad that he is my mentor. Every time I call him, he answers the phone, whether we talk about FAMU stuff or we talk about just football in general. He's always, there for me in that respect. And I can do nothing but thank him for that. And our relationship really started to blossom. I would say our second year together. Our first year was kind of a get to know and kind of feel each other out, especially with the way that he hired me. He came in and I was a GA with the previous staff. So he kind of did his homework. The way he tells me, he did his homework as far as finding out who I was and what I was capable of. And then the first year he kind of let me go and kind of watch from afar. But after that, we kind of, got close, started sharing ideas, and it kind of took off from there. So, but I'm glad that he's a part of my life as not only just a mentor, but also as a friend, somebody I can call to about any and everything. So, again, I'm just glad he's a part of my life, both professionally and socially.
Okay, very good. Now, if you had to just say isolate one thing that that you'll never forget that you've learned under his tutelage thus far, what would that one thing be?
And this is another quarterback thing, and it's something I always thought I did, but I don't do it as well as he does. So I'm still working on it. But man, this dude does not quiver when things don't go his way. And I'm talking, and this is an example. I don't know if he's going to be happy I shared this example, but I won't go into detail. But if we're 10 minutes before kickoff and somebody runs to him and says, "Hey, such and such, this isn't working right," or we're not going to be able to do this like we had planned to, from a not a schematic football standpoint, but from maybe a game day operation standpoint, he doesn't get rattled. He doesn't get upset. He doesn't curse everybody. He doesn't suck his teeth. He's not that guy. He just smiles at, all right. And he just goes with it. So no matter what he's hit with, he doesn't let it affect what he's got to get done that day. And I think that's something that I admire about him, and I still try to take notes about, because I know on that standpoint, me and him might be a little different, and I envy him, and I respect him for doing that, because that's something that you don't see every day. It's somebody that when they're hit with something, especially when it's last minute and it's something that you can't fit, and you have to try to deal with it, it doesn't bother him. He just rolls with it and continues going.
Sound like you're more high strung, is what I'm hearing.
I'm not that much, but I'm not as good as he. I'm not as good as he is with rolling with the punches. Let's say that.
Well, it sounds like he has taken some pages and notes from another well-respected coach in the conference, and that's Fred McNair. This guy is just cool, calm, and collected, it seems like, all times. And even if he is raging on the inside, very rarely are you going to see it on the surface unless you get behind closed doors. And that's the part of being a good leader, being able to mold and shape some things. Now, of course, you're learning, you're getting some great opportunities. And I know you got a lot of people whispering in your ear, man, one day you're going to make a heck of a head coach. One day you're going to be this, and one day you're going to be that. How challenging is it for you to kind of departmentalize that, or put that in a certain area and say, you know what, that might be true, but I can't focus on that right now? Because I'm pretty sure you get that conversation all the time. How do you handle that?
I do get it from time to time, but I'll tell you what, Mike, I don't really read into what a lot of people say that they think until they know, if that makes sense. A lot of people tell me what they think or what they, have planned for me, but until it's in black and white, until I know for sure that it's going to happen, I don't really read much into it. I'll smile. I'll take I'll take your words, and I'm not going to stand. I'm not, listening to what you're saying, but I have other things that are right now important that I have to make sure that I'm responsible for, that I'm handling. And when that day comes, I'm praying that it comes one day, but when that day comes, I will be ready for it. But at the same time, I have to worry about today and not tomorrow.
Absolutely. I would ask you a question, but I'm not going to put you on the spot like that, man, because you're doing a fantastic job.
Yeah, don't do that. Don't do that.
No, I'm not going to do it to you. So we're on the Brazos Valley Schools Credit Union hotline with KJ Black, offensive coordinator and quarterbacks coach at FAMU. Big game coming up right out the gate. What a way to come out in the inaugural season of the conference. You're playing against another storied conference opponent in the likes of Jackson State. And no secret, no doubt that Deion Sanders has been a vocal highlight in this conference since he arrived here. How amped up are you as a coach, and does it make it seem like, man, you're trying to check the book, see if you got any eligibility left to try to get in and be a part of this one?
Mike, we ain't playing 2 years. I don't know how else to explain that. We haven't played in 2 years. We get an opportunity to, number one, and I'm used to this, a lot of people aren't here in FAMU, but we get to open our season with a conference opponent, a divisional opponent, and probably the most talked about team probably in the country. And FCS, not just, HBCU football. We're talking about the most talked about team in the country, and we get the first chance to go against them in Miami down at Hard Rock Stadium on a Sunday when there's only a few games on TV. We'll be one of them on ESPN2. I'm excited to show our brand of football and kind of remind everybody who we are and what we're capable of. And so and your question about eligibility, yeah, I wish I had one more year for this one. just give me one more game. I would love to be in this one, but I'm excited, man. I don't know how else to put it other than we ain't played in 2 years.
Now I'm about to put you on the spot since you said that. Would you be the starter?
Come on, man. we got to do that. Listen, I give Coach Simmons a hard time all the time, especially when I'm talking to recruits and all that. I always throw jabs at him. But I don't care if it's Coach Simmons, me and Coach Simmons in the room, me and Matthew Stafford in the room, me and whoever. They're not taking that first down. I'll be that guy that jumps in there in Indy and takes that first rep, knowing I'm not supposed to be the first one to take the rep. They got to tell me to move. Like, yeah. I'm that guy.
Look, you'll be hiding the quarterback's helmet. Like, where's my helmet? Don't worry about it, Coach. I got it.
It's over there. Let me get it. I got you.
Oh, man, it's truly, truly exciting times at FAMU. It's exciting times at the Southwestern Athletic Conference. And it's also exciting times in the Black household, man. How is the real boss doing?
She's great. And I know you probably talking about my daughter because she runs my household. So,
well, we know you don't run nothing. We know that.
No, not anymore. You're absolutely right. That is Peyton's house and not mine.
Well, Aaron was the boss. Then when Peyton came, she became the boss's boss. So
exactly right.
Look, you are foreman. You're not.
My job is to make sure the air works, make sure the grass cut.
Yes, sir.
Got money. That's my job.
Yes, sir. And you will smile doing it. Trust me, my man. You will smile doing it. And
no
I know
doubt.
It's a great smile to have and a great opportunity to be able to do some things. Well, look, KJ, I am truly, truly thankful for having this opportunity to share your good news and to share the good things that are going on at FAMU. And you know I love you like a brother. And there's only going to be one time that I root against you, and I don't have to tell you when that is. But before we get into all that and have a whole nother segment, I'm going to give you some closing thoughts and comments, my man, and the floor is now yours.
Yeah, Mike, I appreciate the opportunity, man, to come on your show as always. It's great to just talk to you and be able to communicate with HBCU Nation. I know your program is forever growing. I get a lot of people that always reach out to me every time I'm on your show, and it's more people every time. So you're doing an excellent job. We appreciate you. all the HBCU alumni. We appreciate everything that you do for our sport, because it's not, it doesn't have the coverage that it deserves or should, but you do an awesome job of keeping us all informed, and enlightening everybody, and covering not just football, but all sports. So we appreciate you, and like always, go Rattlers. And everybody make sure you're tuning in September 5th when we take on Jackson State on ESPN2.
Absolutely. And because he said go Rattlers, I'm going to have to follow up with go Panthers. You know, only in just, my man, only in just. He is KJ Black, offensive coordinator, and he is the quarterback's coach, and soon to be part of the Rams staff, at least for 3 weeks, working out some things and coming back with more exciting tools and opportunities to expand his path and the path of those that will be in his presence. We are going to take us a break, and we'll come back with more of tonight's episode of the Mike Prince Show. You got to keep it right where you got it, and I promise you, we will be right back. You're looking to expand your business or services? Let the Open Mic Broadcast Network help lead the way. With our customized campaigns, we are definitely able to reach your target audience. For more information, dial 832-213-8824. The Open Mic Broadcast Network, serving the community through faith and athletics. The voice of student athletics.
Chris, can you put the video game controller down for a second?
I can talk and play. Oh, I'm totally annihilating this punk kid in Nebraska.
I just feel like you're not acting like a grown-up in our relationship.
Him too.
Well, you know, you still ride your skateboard to work, there's the comic book collection, the race car bed.
Look, I'm young at heart, but I put money into my 401k every paycheck. I picked up a few savings tips at feedthepig.org. I have control over my financial life now, and that feels pretty grown up.
Put away a few bucks, feel like $1 million. Putting some money from every paycheck into a savings account or contributing to your 401k can make a big difference later. For free ideas and easy tips on ways to save, go to feedthepig.org. That's feedthepig.org.
So, I bet I look like a grown-up to you now.
Well, except for the footy pajamas, I'd have to agree.
This message brought to you by the American Institute of Certified Public Accountants and the Ad Council.
Broadcasters come into our lives on radio and TV, bringing us information and entertainment. Broadcasters are there for us, but who is there for them when they fall on hard times? The Broadcasters Foundation of America provides financial assistance to broadcasters in acute need due to a critical illness, accident, or other serious misfortune. If you know of a broadcaster on the air or behind the scenes who may need our help, please share our message. Visit broadcastersfoundation.org.
And welcome back to our final segment of tonight's episode. Man, I'm telling you, the time truly does fly when you're having fun. And we had what we would like to think was another successful show on this evening. Started off with Larry Woods II, Director of Compliance from Texas Southern University, breaking down the NIL avenues and adventures that have opened up, and followed up with the good son, KJ Black, offensive coordinator and quarterbacks coach of the FAMU Rattlers, PV living legend, opportunity to work and grow with the Los Angeles Rams of the National Football League. Just some great times all over the place, and we are so happy that we are able to help share the news and the stories. Recap some of the things we went over this past week. Heard exclusively from Andre Payne at Denmark Technical College in South Carolina. He's a Panther now. Heard from Coach Van Pettaway, basketball analyst at the Open Mic Broadcast Network. Heard from Rob Butler on the Sports Report Saturday, which is featured now at 10 a.m. on Saturdays here at the Open Mic Broadcast Network. And we got more programming coming for you in the very near future. Reminding you to mark your calendars for July 20th. where we'll have Swac Media Day football. And that following week, July 27th, we'll have Swac Media Day volleyball. But the time has come now that I must exit stage left. I am the radio guy, Dr. Mike Prince. Thanks to our sponsors and underwriters to help us keep the calls moving forward. If you would like to become a listening partner or simply make a donation to help out the calls, visit the website at obnradio.com, or you could submit it by way of mail to P.O. Box 891, Prairie View, Texas, 77446. I've got to go. I am the radio guy, and until the next time, you guys be blessed, and we'll see you on the other side.